The cowboy had tracked the stolen horses for 3 days through canyon rock and scorched desert, the kind of land that remembers every footstep and never forgives a careless one. And when the sound of falling water finally reached him, it felt like a miracle, a silver hush cutting through the heat. So he pushed through mesquite and stone until the waterfall revealed itself, spilling like a curtain of glass into a hidden pool. And that was when he heard her voice, low, urgent, trembling but proud. "Cowboy, don't look, my dress is gone," whispered from behind the cascade. And in that moment the world froze, because the voice belonged to Anne, Apache woman he thought long dead, a woman whose eyes once burned like dawn, fire, and whose name had been spoken in both prayers and curses. And he turned his face away instantly, gripping his hat brim, feeling the strange pull of honor, danger, and memory collide in his chest as bullets and blood and broken promises rushed back to him. For 5 years earlier he had betrayed her tribe without meaning to, leading soldiers through a pass he thought empty, only to watch smoke rise and hear screams echo through stone. And now here she was, alive, hiding naked behind falling water, not in shame but in survival, wounded by the same men who hunted him. And as he stood there refusing to look, she told him in hurried whispers that bounty hunters were near, that her dress had been torn away as she fled, that the waterfall was sacred and hid her scent. And he realized the stolen horses he tracked were not stolen at all, but rescued, freed from men who sold Apache children south of the border. And when the hunters' voices drifted closer, he made a choice that would cost him his freedom and maybe his life, stepping forward, firing his revolver into the air, shouting lies about finding nothing, drawing danger to himself so she could escape downstream unseen. And as the hunters chased him into the rocks, she emerged briefly from the veil of water, not as a woman in need but as a warrior reborn, eyes locking with his for half a breath, gratitude and warning mixing like thunder before rain. And if this story already has your heart racing, remember stories like this live and breathe because of you. Subscribe to the channel and ride with us deeper into legends the desert never tells. Twice. By nightfall the canyon burned with torchlight and gunshots, and the cowboy lay wounded in a ravine, blood soaking his sleeve. When she returned, silent as wind through grass, having taken a hunter's shirt to cover herself and carrying herbs and resolve. And she tended his wound with steady hands, telling him the waterfall had been a test, that among her people water reveals truth by stripping away lies, and that he had passed by choosing honor over fear. And as the stars wheeled above them, she told him her name had changed because the old one died with her family, that she now led survivors hidden deep in the mountains, fighting not with armies, but with patience. And she asked him to leave with her before dawn, not as a savior but as a man seeking redemption. And he agreed because the West had already taken everything else from him. And together they rode through secret passes where rock paintings watched like ancestors, narrowly escaping bounty hunters again when she lured them toward false trails. And he collapsed, a ridge with gunfire. And at the edge of the Apache stronghold she stopped him, saying some paths must be walked alone, that trust grows slow like desert rain. But before turning away she placed his hand over his heart and said he was no longer lost. And when soldiers finally found the waterfall days later, they found only falling water and silence, never knowing a story had changed there, a story of respect instead of conquest, of a woman who needed no rescue and a cowboy who learned to look away so he could finally see. And if this legend stirred something in you, if you want more stories where courage whispers instead of shouts, subscribe to the channel, because the frontier is vast and the best tales are still waiting just beyond the fall of water and time.
Subscribe to my channel.